2 seconds to go. This will be the last play of the first half. Pastorini fires deep. This will be right into the hands of number 44, Richmond Flowers. And the clock is gone, and the Giants intercepted 4 passes. What a way to end the half for Don Pastorini.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. I've seen a lot of good YouTube videos talking about Evan Engram. You know, some were for Evan Engram, some were against Evan Engram. But I just want to explain, my own, interpretation or, my feelings of, why he might just have a, pretty special year. That you listen to Joe Judge, and, you get the impression Joe Judge is never going to badmouth any of his players, ever. Doesn't matter how bad they maybe seem to be playing, he's just going to, talk good things about him, and somebody asked him in one of his last press conferences, about Evan Engram and all, and Joe says, nobody empties the tank like Evan Engram does, and he goes hard every day, and we have to, a lot of times we have to tell him to tone it down, take it down a notch. He works on the details. He takes coaching very well. He's mentally tough. He's physically tough. He's a productive player. He's a leader on a team. He's great in the locker room. So he's, Coach Judge is saying all the right things about him, which is, some guys need a, kick in the butt, but, going on, out on, in a press conference and bad-mouthing one of your guys, it's not the way to go about doing it. So Joe Judge, talks him up, which he does pretty much all his ball players. So it gives them a vote of confidence. And there was also Kim Jones from the NFL Network. She had, she was talking about the Giants, and she was talking about, how, when she was there watching one of the OTAs, she saw Kenny Golladay, and she said her eyes were, kind of focused on him, seeing him in a Giants uniform for the first time. But she said she had a pick for a Giant who was going to have an enormous season this year, and it was Evan Engram. She said he looks fantastic. He has the 4.4 speed, and any practice or OTAs that she's been able to attend, and that she's actually seen Evan Engram, she hasn't seen him drop one ball yet. So, Evan Engram is her pick for a Giant to have a breakout year. Now, a lot of it, could be, it's time to pay up, The Giants got his 5th-year option. He's only making $6 million this year, which is a bargain. Whether the guy drops the passes or not, $6 million, that's for the talent that he has, that he has and he can possess from time to time, $6 million is certainly well worth it. But if he wants to get up there with the big boys, he better have a nice productive season this year. Now, average salary-wise, George Kittle, the Skittle man, is at $15 million a year. Okay, so he's number one. Well deserved. I mean, he's absolutely fantastic. He was hurt quite a bit last year, so hopefully he gets better. Of course, then you got Travis Kelce's at $14.3 million. Evan Ingram's not going to make what the Skittle man and Travis Kelce are going to make, regardless if he has a phenomenal season or not, because he's had a bad season here and there. He's been injured quite a bit, so he's not going to make that much, but he's certainly in line to make far more than just $6 million a year. Now you also got, the one thing I found was a bit odd was that the Patriots, they have the average annual salary per year. Okay, they got 2 guys, 2 tight ends making $12.5 million a year. They got Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, both making $12.5 million a year. I found out a bit. I'm gonna get $25 million for two guys. It's 13.6% of your salary cap going to two tight ends. I mean, just their average. I'm not exactly sure what they're getting paid. You know, if they're prorating their, you know, they're paying them less now and more next year or whatever. But just their average salary, what I saw online, was $12.5 million. It's a bit odd. $25 million for two tight ends. I mean, the Giants had two nice tight ends, and between the two of them, they don't even add up to $12.5 million. So, but that's Bill Belichick. Anyway, but I mean, it's a big year, obviously, huge year for Evan Engram. Now, he obviously has to remain healthy, too, because, you know, last year was, I guess, possibly argue maybe his worst year, although somehow he made the All Pro Bowl. I don't even know. Don't even know that. But he managed to play 16 games last year, which is the first time in his career he played 16 games. The first year he only played in 15. You know, second year he only played in 11. His third year he played in 8, and last year he played in all 16. So he's got to show that not only he can be productive, but he can stay healthy as well, which is very, very important. Now, of course, then the problem is for the Giants is that, you know, their salary cap for next year, I mean, they have a lot of money already dished out. They don't have money, they don't have a lot of money left to spend, and especially if they have those 2 first-round draft choices next year, and then obviously in the second round or 2. I mean, you're looking at $5, $6, maybe $7 million just to sign the first two first-rounders and your second rounder. You know, so and they got a lot of money to be invested there. But I mean, yes, I mean, obviously, because you got Will Hernandez, you got Lorenzo Carter, Jabrill Peppers. If he has a good year, you know he's going to certainly ask well over $10 million. That's for sure. We get Evan Engram. We can't sign. I mean, I'd be surprised if we sign one of them. You know, with the way our salary cap is. You know. So we'll have to wait and see, as I said, but it's a big year for Evan Engram. So I mean, whether he signs with the Giants or not, you know, he needs to stay healthy, and he needs to have a productive season. You know, and then next year somebody will ante up and somebody will give him the money. Now it's not like I mean, you've seen some of his plays, like the 2 plays he had 2 touchdowns this year. One was on like an end around against the Cowboys. He had the ball. I can't remember who the Cowboy defender was. It was the defensive lineman, not very fast. But Evan Engram had the ball. The Giants had the ball around the 5-yard line of Dallas, and they gave the ball on end around to Evan Engram, and the guy, the Cowboys defender, had him like around the 12-yard line. He was like, and Evan Engram put a move on him or so, and he easily ran around him, got to the corner, and got in the end zone for a touchdown. It was a special move. Then his only touchdown reception this year was when they played the Washington football team. I mean, Daniel Jones, Evan Engram was covered. You know, Daniel Jones threw the ball in the end zone. Pretty much one of the only places it could have got thrown where it wasn't going to get picked off. Evan Engram laid out like this, he caught the ball. I mean, what a phenomenal catch. The year before that, I mean, there's 2 plays against Tampa Bay. Daniel Jones's first start. The one play, it was they had the ball. It was in the first quarter, I believe it was. They had the ball around the 30-yard line or so of Tampa. They were driving, and Evan Engram ran across the middle, and he was being covered. Daniel Jones threw the ball. Evan Engram reached up one hand, caught the ball, brought it down, and when he got his second hand on, his second hand was down like about his waist. Went up with his right hand, brought it down, and got it, to his left hand. But he was just snatched it out with one hand out of midair. I'm like, damn, how did he do that? And then you look at him this year, and the ball's the right hand, it goes right through his hands. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then there's another play in that, that game. What was it? I forgot, 60 or 70-yard touchdown pass. He going across the middle. He hit him in stride. He ran down toward the sideline and just took off. And nobody caught him. I mean, he ran like a deer. I mean, you're like, man, that guy is special. Then you look at what he's doing this year. I mean, this past year, it's like, what is going on? I mean, they say like he can't block or anything. I mean, now in college, obviously I know the talent's not as good as it is now, and the guys maybe aren't as big and as fast and all that. But I mean, in college, I mean, his run blocking grades were very good. I mean, he was a sophomore. Pro Football Focus, okay, sophomore. His run blocking grade was an 80.5. When he was a junior, his run blocking grade was an 84. When he was a senior, it was a 77.5. I mean, dipped down, but still, his run blocking grade was 77.5. His pass blocking grade, all right, when he was a sophomore, was a 75.5. When he was a junior, it was a 71.5. It fell off for some reason. I don't know. When he was a senior, but his pass blocking grade was a 57.3. So the man can block. Part of the reason why is if you look, some of the videos on YouTube, sometimes he's going against the edge rushers, guys that are 30 pounds or so. I mean, Evan Ingram's only 240. You're going against guys that are 260, 270. He has a hard time. But if you'll notice, when he's going up against maybe a cornerback or a safety, he does a far superior job. There was a couple that I saw against Jamal Adams, the safety for Seattle. He did a fantastic job blocking him a couple of times. And I seen there was some run blocking grades, run blocking plays against Seattle, who was going up against a cornerback. He did fantastic. I mean, it's like you're putting a guy, as Joe Judge says, putting a guy in the right position to be successful. Now, one other thing is that it's coaching. Okay. Now, last year was his worst year. His offensive grade by Pro Football Focus. Okay, his grade for his pass receiving last year and his pass blocking last year. His grades were the absolute worst. All right, even when Ben McAdoo, when he was a rookie, Ben McAdoo, his grades were better when he was with Ben McAdoo than they were last year with Jason Garrett. I mean, his first year, his offensive grade when he was with Pat Shurmur, his offensive grade was a 76.3. Last year was a 60.5. His pass receiving grade from Pro Football Focus when he was with Pat Shurmur for the first year was a 75.7. Last year, it was a 61.4. His first year, his pass blocking, grade, when he was with Pat Shurmur for the first year, his grade was a 70.4. Last year with Jason Garrett was a 58.2. His run blocking, was a 60.6 his first year with Pat Shurmur. So if you put him in the right position to be successful, he can be successful. I'm not saying he's going to be the greatest. I'm not saying he's Travis Kelce or the Gronk or anything. But he can perform certainly better than he did last year, without question. Now, one other thing, just to wrap this all up, as I said, is coaching. Okay, his rookie season when he was with Ben McAdoo, Rico Suave with his hair slicked back and everything. Evan Engram had 4. Okay, he played 15 games his rookie season. Ben McAdoo. He had balls were thrown in his direction, they were intercepted 4 times. Okay, last year he played 16 games. Okay, with Jason Garrett calling. There were 6 balls that were picked off that were going in his direction. Okay, the 2 years he was with Pat Shurmur, all right, he was hurt a lot. He played 8 games and he played 11. So he played 19 games in those 2 years. All right, he played 15 with McAdoo, 19 with Shurmur, 16 with Garrett. So on the 19 games he played with Pat Shurmur, he had no interceptions at balls thrown his way. So what Judge needs to do is he says, put the guys in best possible position to be successful. Look at what Pat Shurmur may not have been the greatest coach in the world, but the man can call some plays. Look at what he was doing, okay, and try to replicate that as best as you can, because whatever Jason Garrett last year just wasn't working. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo!